And you guys have actually revolutionized the paddle float in this concept of having something that does more than one thing. This year you guys came out with the foreplay. So maybe you could introduce this to us.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited about this. This is a pretty neat piece, I think. We're pretty proud of this because I think we have made a quantum leap in the utility of the paddle float, because we've gone from just being able to kneel on it or be able to do your paddle float rescue to being able to sit on it. We can loosen these. You'll note here that we've gone with white buckles because the last thing you want to do is open it up the wrong way and open up the whole thing. And so why don't we start with the open the whole thing just so we can show everybody.
Okay.
If you unbuckle the sides, it opens up. It's about the length of a compact sleep mat. We've got 1/2-inch closed cell foam. So for the minimalist paddler, you can leave your sleep mat at home now. For the minimalist paddler, you can also leave your camp chair.
This is exciting.
So what we've done is we have, I don't know about you, but I've owned a couple of camp chairs in my life, and one of the things I found was that the stays, and this has some stays on either side, the top and the bottom.
Just provide some stiffness.
Some stiffness. The other stays on my camp chair, they end up, I find, biting into my ribs when I lean back on them. So what we've done is, you open up the white ones, pull them forward, and I find, and everyone's butt's a little bit different in shape, what I've found for me, a little less than 90 degrees. That's a little bit too big for me. Close it down just a little bit. I can slide my butt in there. Comes up below my ribs, and enough to give me enough support that it's comfortable for hours and hours and hours. I sometimes, when I get bored sitting at my desk here in the shop, I'll pull the keyboard down and sit on the floor, make the monitor a little bit bigger, and lounge around, if you will. So here we have a camp chair. As we said, this is a double-ended float, just like the SeaTech paddle float. So we'll cinch this down a little bit. And the way that goes, what we want to do with this one, this is a little bit different. Yeah, you want to do the wrap around. Wrap it around, tighten it up, and ta-da, now it's ready for your paddle float.
And this one has almost 18 pounds of flotation in it.
Yeah, I think when we measured it in the PFD tank, it's about 18.5 or like 18.4 or something. So
yeah.
For ease, we'll call it 18.
So a lot of people that maybe find a traditional rigid paddle float
a little small.
This would be a great alternative.
Absolutely.
And one of the nice things about a foam paddle float, of course, is that it's always there when you need it, not prone to puncturing or anything, and away you go. And the thing that people always talk about is that they're relatively bulky. Well, you've got a nice slimmer, streamlined version here, and you've made this even smaller. And most paddlers are also bringing some kind of thing to sit on. So now you've eliminated the need for all of that. So this is a neat addition this year.
So to bring this back full circle, what do we have so far? A camp chair. We said we could lay it out so you could sleep on it.
Or for first aid emergencies and that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Great idea. Never even thought of that. Matting, whether you want to have a lounge on the beach. And then remember, often it's going to be on the back of your boat, so it's going to be a little damp. So that doesn't mean you can't sleep on it, but what we want to do is we want to put another barrier in there. So what we recommend is you take it and put it underneath your tent instead of inside of your tent like you would your standard sleep mat that's been inside of your boat hatch.
Yeah.
So we got a couple options there. That's 3 at least. So 4, another handy function here, is because of its length, what we can do is we can open it up and lay it over to wrap it around the roof rack of your car.
Oh,
so that you can drape it down the back of the car, and then you can push the boat up. Or, sometimes boats slip, and the last thing you want to do is scratch your car up, because it's a lot easier to look after this than it is to repaint your car.
Yeah, if you have a minivan or something, right? A lot of people have a hard
The
time
height.
reaching up and over, and one simple technique is to prop the front of the boat up and then slide it up. I've often historically recommended bath mats, for example, because you have the rubber back. But this would work as well. It would work really well. Then you're done.
So now I want to tell you where this all came from. Beyond the paddle float, for years, a boat that's loaded is a heavy beast. And living here on the coast, sometimes you end up on a beach that's pretty rocky, pretty pebbly, or full of driftwood. I noticed that there was lots and lots of people paddling with these foam pool noodles strapped to their boats because they could throw them on the ground and use it as a bridge so you could roll the boat over. Well,
Kind of like how they made the pyramids, right? With the little wheels.
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
So here what we've done is, the idea is to take the thing, get up to shore, throw it down on the ground, drag the boat up. It's almost 5 feet long. I think it's 4'8".
Well, I'm 7 feet tall.
It works out to be. So what that provides us with, whether you got a kayak or a canoe, it's enough space that you can get it on the ground. We've got a nice heavy-duty Cordura here. It's actually 1,000 denier Cordura. It might even be 1,500. I can't remember. I should know that. Throw it on the ground, drag the boat over it, and then you can keep dragging it. Because, as we said earlier, it's easier to look after this, it's easier to maintain this, it's easier to replace this than it is the gel coat on the bottom of your boat.
Yeah. And I guess in keeping again with that mantra that you stated earlier, your pieces of gear should ideally serve more than one purpose. The minute you consider padding or flotation, they have multiple purposes on a trip, and so we can put those together into a pad like this, and people can decide kind of how they want to use it. But at the very least, they're getting a really cool paddle float and a chair.
And a chair.
Right, and then all the other features that we talked about, depending on what people want to use it for.
Yeah, and so I guess technically we have more than 4 uses, but
4 good ones anyway.
4 just sounded like it was a better name. Catch some more attention.